All praise the Creator. You know, everything we do, we take a step closer to that. And the more that we uncover, the more we need the Creator's guidance. You know, with the information, you know, this information right here. And shout out to much loved assistant Nina, who had this on PDF. And this is a book I had, man, maybe about 15 years ago or so. A long time ago. And I lost it, and she remembered me mentioning it on one video. I don't even know. And she said, Ken, you got this, man? I was like, man, beautiful work, sister. Thank you. But, you know, there's a lot of sensitive stuff, man, in these type of documents and all this stuff like this. This book is from Behold a Pale Horse, Bill Cooper. I'll try to leave the link. Hopefully it works for you to be able to download it. And, again, this is like a 30-year-old joint, so it's nothing new. A lot of this stuff has been updated when we get into the Rex 84, FEMA. There's a lot of documents in this book. Man, I mean, it's a 500-page book of docs. You know what I'm saying? Of course, when you research William Cooper, you know, he was assassinated. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff in here, you know, has been given even more credence because of the fact that, you know, hey, this document's very sensitive. We're at a time right here where knowledge is increasing, so we're going to stumble on a lot of these so-called sensitive things. And, you know, all we have is protection, you know what I'm saying, from our Creator. And we rock with that. We rock with the energy of existence to know that we are at the right place at the right time. When it comes to warning our nation, we have to be fearless. There's no way to be in between. You know, we have to work with wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Let wisdom guide us, you know, be full of this energy, be full of this guidance. We got to be fearless when it comes to warning our people. We're not just over here turning up rocks and stones in order to do it. We're doing it so that we can have our freedom. But in order to have your freedom, you need to know what you're up against. You need to understand the power and the energy that invaded you and their documentation. In case you thought it was play. So again, this is Behold Pale Horse. We're going to get, you know, pieces and parts out of this, man. You dig and you get pieces and parts, and we all put them together, man. I'm going to do, you know what I'm saying, what comes as it comes, flows as it flows. But let's start actually with the, I want to start with his, you know, just the cover of the book. William Cooper, Behold a Pale Horse, Milton William Cooper. And I looked and behold a pale horse. So this is out of Revelations right there. The revelation of Hijack City, right? But we're going to get to the documents. That's the babies. But let's see what this says. And look, behold, I saw a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death. That's what we're focusing on, death. What was brought to you? Death. And hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword and with hunger and with beast of the earth. To kill with sword, hunger, and with beast of the earth. What happened to you? The brother getting to the root of it all just dropped that, hey, they ate you with hunger. They ate you with the sword. Oh, you don't think they ate you? You don't think they ate you? Let's go, man. And again, love to everybody surfing the wave, man. Let's just keep the vibration high. Higher, higher, higher. Alright, everybody. Orders are in, man. Keep us supporting. I appreciate your love, man. And we'll keep building for you. Yeah. Getting to the root of it all, man. Y'all don't think they ate your asses? Y'all don't think they literally ate your asses? Let's go.
Today I'm going to be continuing with the devastations of the Indies, part 7.
I'm gonna skip
This is
right to this, kid.
Providence and the Kingdom of Guatemala. So in the last reading, I was we was kind of like in Guatemala. It was kind of giving us details about it. So
in Guatemala, let's go. We'll get right to it,
town
kid.
or province that he intended to invade, right? So you got to remind yourself, these people are fighting their own kind. Or these might be the servants of the masters of the Aboriginals, the masters, the servants of the Aboriginals. And they just calling them all the same because these people was amongst them, right? So this is what I'm trying to tell y'all. These might be the Mongol people that was living amongst us. You know, these Canaanites, all right? Or Turkish people, Turkish Canaanites. All right, it says, intended to invade. And since he did not provide food for his Aboriginals, he gave them permission to eat the enemy. Eat the enemy Aboriginals they captured. Hold on, man. No. He gave them permission to...
Now look at my brother's face right here. Because something that is inherent in my brother says this is against all nature. The look on my brother's face is like, this is unnatural to me. Even in my state, even after being invaded, even after my parents and my chiefs and my children, everybody was slaughtered. Even after generations of not knowing who I am, this is unnatural to me. He has to go back. He said, what? They gave permission to eat us when they captured us? They ate us? Let's go.
Eat the enemy Aboriginal they captured. So he made them eat them, man. And thus he had in his royal kingdom a butchery of human beings, where in the presence children were killed, cooked, and eaten. See,
Children.
I've been saying this the whole time, y'all. I've been reading this and I've been saying this. I've been telling y'all that these people eat people, okay? You know, and the reason why I'm saying this is because everything's all good right now. These people have what they want right now. But when something collapses, falls, they're going to be eating you.
Wow.
You understand? They're going to be eating you. Alright, so it says, and where men were killed merely for their hands and feet, which were esteemed and delicious. A delicacy. No, I'm sorry. A delicacy. I'm sorry about that.
Wow.
Esteemed and as a delicacy.
So you were a delicacy. Your children were a delicacy. Not only were they digging up the Indian corpse or the indigenous corpses to eat when they didn't plant food because they're digging for gold, or it couldn't grow. Not on this soil. They need you here to grow. That's what Smiles is saying. You Exodus, you go back home, who's going to grow? They need you here to grow. The Most High and this earth has a covenant with the children of this earth. If you are not on a particular land, does the earth still grow? Or is it only growing to feed you? And if you go to barren land, will that then grow too? Is that what Isaiah 40 is bringing out?
And since these inhumanities were occurring in the other parts of the Indies, right? So the Aboriginal knew not where to hide. They killed countless number of Aboriginals in the course of shipbuildings, right? So they also took Aboriginals aboard for voyages to the north and south along the coast. Told y'all. I told y'all, man. You are these people, man. Alright? It said.
Yo, check it out, man. But I want y'all to understand. Word to getting to the root of it all. Uno on the beats, man. True warrior, man. You know what I'm saying? Pure water indeed. So love to the king. Check out the rest of the Devastation of the Indies Kingdom 7-part series. 7 parts of dedication, man. So definitely kings to it. Kings to the brother. You'll check a lot of it right here. You know what I'm saying? If you're ever looking for somebody in particular, go to categories. Boom. Getting to the root of it all right there. Alright. So let's keep it rocking. Alright. To kill with sword, hunger, and with the beasts of the earth. And in hunger, they ate you and your children as delicacies, which means that they really liked it, which is what the purge is all about. Let's go. The ideas and conclusions expressed in this work are mine alone. It is possible that one or more conclusions may be wrong. The purpose of this book is to convince you, the reader, that something is terribly wrong. It is my hope that this work will inspire you to begin an earnest search for the truth. Your conclusions may be different, but together, maybe we can build a better world. What do we say? We're going to build brick by brick. They want a better world. They need to return to order. He's still hijacked. He still has a hijack. He don't understand it. They don't understand it. It's not in them. They need hijacks. They need guidance. And so their whole purpose and their whole point of what they're doing is to guide you. But guide you where? You'll see. They need to guide you, right? So they're going to guide you with everything, and then they're going to break down everything they did to guide you and give you a new order to guide you. Unless you had your own order. But if you're out of order, you're going to be falling by default into their new order. Unless you have your own order, which is the order of the one and only order of the one and only creator, creation, energy, Heya. Your commandments are your order. If you don't have those, you're going to fall by default into theirs. You ain't going to metaphysic your way out of that shit. Y'all can read that at your own time. Let's get to it, man. Here's the chapters. You see what's in this book. Alright, you got the link. You know what the title is. You know what the author is. You got it. I'm just dropping the drop. Silent Weapons. Secret Societies. Oath of Initiation. Secret Treaty of Verona. Goodbye USA, hello New World Order. This is where we're going to get today. FEMA. Anti-drug abuse. We might get some of that later. Are the sheep ready to share? Anatomy of Alliance. Lessons from Lithuania. Coup de grace. The secret government. Treason in high places. A proposed constitutional model for the new states. We'll get that. Protocols of the Elders of Zion. Whoa. Deep psychology. We got to get some of this today. The story of Jonathan May. Get into it. The documentation, U.S. intelligence, Satanic Church, UFO, 51, all this stuff. AIDS. They're going to actually show you the documentation of the creation of this disease in the laboratories. You got the link, you got the book. Go get it. Man. New World Order, all this stuff like this. So again, this is 30 years ago. I don't know how sensitive all this stuff is today. It was 30 years ago. But this lets you know that beyond 30 years ago, 130 years ago, they were working on this. 200 years ago, they were working on trying to do this to you, man. And before they even got all fancy with it, what they do, they just came with their swords and they came with their biological, chemical warfare, all right? Some time ago, I had the opportunity to meet William Cooper and his wife, Annie. It was part of my job to verify whether this man did and speak the truth or was just another person seeking fame or fortune. What I found was a rugged, bulldog-driven individual who was kind, thoughtful, and tender-hearted. He was truly concerned about you and your welfare. Bill knew that the people were badly informed by society, with spoon-feed you deception until there is no distinction between fiction and reality. The illusion that you're living in, the matrix, there's no distinction anymore between fiction and reality. He sees what many others see happening, but he's not afraid to do something about it. All right, you can keep going. You know what I'm saying? He does a whole forward. All right, then he puts this hijack in here. You already saw that coming. Fourth, I believe that any man with principles that he is ready and willing to die for at any given moment is already dead. Any man without principles. What are principles? Morals. What's the moral basis that conforms us? That they don't like. They say, we're not like that. We're going to be different. We're not going to be moral. We're going to have a system where the least moral you are, the more you benefit. So for their kingdom and their kingship, they need somebody who does not have morals or emotions or sensuality or anything that's human, because they don't want you to be swayed from the agenda. Their agenda needs to be like a robot computer embedded in your brain for you to be the king of their kingdom. To be a king of our kingdom, you need what? Principles, morals of what? Life. Not killing, not stealing, not coveting your neighbor's wife. Vibrating once a week together, above the firmament, choosing up, right? Not bearing false witness against your brother. You know the deal. Life. They don't like those principles and morals in their kingdom. But you need these principles, and if you don't have them, all right, if you don't have something you're willing to die for, they rule off of you being afraid, that fear vibration. You're afraid to what? Die, because you don't understand it. Man, if you die because you tell the truth, if you die because you're taking steps to free your nation, man, that's the greatest victory, man. But not doing shit, you already dead. You already dead. Somebody got a quote, that says that the only way tyranny, the tyranny of evil can really reign is if good men do nothing. That's the only guarantee for evil or tyranny to reign, is good men doing nothing. What would make good men do nothing? Someone that is not willing to die any moment for the principles, the morals of not killing, of not stealing. Those are your morals, man. If you don't have them, if you don't have order, they have a new one for you. All right. This is William Cooper. Again, he was killed. I think he was ran off a road or something like that. All right, so I'm going to get to it. Let's go to FEMA. There is a lot of babies all in this bathwater. For real, for real. Okay. Are you with me? Party people, are you with me? Let's go. All right, HR 4079. Let's get some of this, and I want to get to the psychology a little bit too. FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency. Go back to the King Alfred's plan. Look at the steps on how they plan to dismantle you. And understanding goes right hand in hand with this organization. Anything they say is federal is as federal, you know what I'm saying, as IRS, Federal Reserve Bank. None of this stuff is American. None of it's federal in terms of being American. So get that shit out your head. This is not an American thing. This is not an American army that you see these tanks coming in. It's the takeover of the kings. Right? This is the kingdom. But if they took away your kings, then they have their kings ruling your kingdom. Their queen ruling your kingdom, right? Their powers are ruling your power. But now they got to rule with force. The same way they came in, it's the same way they're going to go out. With force. Alright, tools that can be used to establish the police state. Patriots and tax protesters. You must never be found at home any holiday. Your life depends on how well you can obey that rule. What does that mean? Does it mean literally go out every holiday? Or does it mean by obeying that rule, it's putting your life in jeopardy? The more you obey that rule, the more predictable you are. The more your life depends. But if you go against that stuff, does that, you know what I'm saying? Hey, does it preserve your life? Let's go. FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency. The following is a transcript of the audio tape with an urgent message to the people from William Cooper on the subject of H.R. 4079. We must stop the traitors now. William Cooper dictates this information to me, to my phone early in 1990. Again, like I said, it's 30 years ago. And I tape recorded the information as he gave it. I made many tapes and sent them out exactly as Mr. Cooper had asked me to do, and those recipients have done the same. My name is, I'm not even going to say people's names, man, but you see his name. And William Cooper, well, we already said that one, is the only man in America outside the Secret Service, secret government, who truly knows what is happening and what it means to us, the average American citizen. So when you see American citizens, yeah, okay, we're talking about everybody's going to be affected, but really understand that you are the end game. And you'll see when we get to the next piece that we're going to showcase. All right, shed some light on, right? Citizens and all this stuff like that. You can't be a citizen of a corporation. So we're just talking about the people that have been invaded here. So what does it mean to you? All right, so here goes William Cooper. This is his audio tape transcription. There's a guy by the name of, you see his name right there. He's a member of FEMA, and he's a member of the interdepartmental unit, which is empowered in the event of the national security emergency to become the unelected national government, a sort of FEMA secret government, so to speak. A pretext for invoking those emergency measures can be found almost daily in the newspapers. It could be anything from the suspension of debt payments by the high boroughs of American countries to mass runs on U.S. commercial banks, and that's an issue. By the way, that's being handled personally by the National Security Council, and you see his name, to food shortages, right? You see that in Venezuela right now, to drug war, the whole bit, anything, any disaster emergency declared at all, even including the oil spill from the Exxon tanker in Alaska or Hurricane Katrina. If the president had declared a national emergency, that could have triggered it. Any instability in the Middle East, anything can cause this FEMA thing to come into effect and martial law to come into effect. So really, you're just a ticking time bomb. Anything could happen that they declare as an emergency. Your kids might be in school, and guess what? You can't even get to your kids because it's a national emergency. And if this thing lasts forever, that means you'll never see your children again. That they are now wardens of whatever power, because the school is never, sanctioned to release them until the disaster is declared free and clear. And if you're a disaster, if martial law is forever, and martial law leads into a new order, does the disaster ever be declared clear, or do your kids now get caught up, behind some other cages, and you're in another cage? So let's go. And if they've already tested their capabilities in April 1984, the Rex 84A. All right, here we go. And that was designed to test the readiness of the U.S. civilian and military agencies to respond to a serious national security crisis. Now the executive order that will implement this, the Executive Order 11051, details responsibilities to the Office of Emergency Planning, or FEMA. It gives authorizations to put all executive orders into effect in times of national emergency declared by the president, increase international tension, or economical or financial crisis. Right now, we have all these things. We have the perfect storm now. Do you see? Note that it covers every conceivable domestic crisis, but does not even mention war or nuclear attack. Now, the only thing that has to happen for FEMA to be able to implement all the executive orders, emergency executive orders, is for the president to declare a national emergency of any type. Anything, as long as it's a national emergency, right? So we have all these executive orders. All right. 10995 provides for the takeover of the communications and media. Bye-bye media. 10997 provides for takeover of all electronic power, petroleum, gas, fuel, minerals, your power. I said, do you feel comfortable with someone being in control of your power at all times? That's not your friend. 10988 provides takeover of food resources and farms. Do you feel comfortable with someone else controlling your food? Is that slavery and captivity? If people that are not your friend are controlling your food, your electricity, power, gas, all that, whatever you're using? communication, media, social media. Why is Let's Find the Truth working on his platform to be there? Why are we working on our platform to be where we're at the same time? They're going to take control of all this stuff eventually, right? So we can't fall in love with their shit. We need to build for a better tomorrow, for our preservation, since no one gives a fuck about us. And as soon as we give a fuck about us, they say, what about me? And I say, well, it wasn't what about you when we was getting whipped and mutilated and raped. You separated yourself from us. You made treaties. But now that we want to come together and regain our consciousness collectively with our Creator, it's what about me? Hypocrites. And that's where we live, the illusion, man. Alright. 0999 provides for the takeover of all modes of transportation, controlling highways, seaports. Yous can't go. Oh, I want to go here. I want to get there. You can't. We took it over. We took these highways over. All right, 11000 provides for the mobilization of all civilians into work brigades. Whoa, what's a work brigade? Now we're going into camps, right? Now we're going into some Hitler Nazi shit. This is their orders, man. Back in the day, to get this book, you would have to sign your name and your address on some papers and stuff. They tracked everybody who had this book. Now, Daniel 12, the PDF is everywhere. So I'm just reading off a PDF that everybody has. And we're spreading that. You keep spreading it because everybody should have this. Get the babies out. 11001 provides for the governmental takeover of all health, education, and welfare functions. Your EBT, all that other stuff. Education, your public schools, again, they're taking it over. If your children are being held captive at this time, they've taken over your children. Which is why it's very dangerous to have your children in, right, these public schools. A lot of people are trying to homeschool and do what we can right now, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, at the end of the day, the only protection, man, is us protecting ourselves and our children. That only makes sense, right? It is your land, right? It's been hijacked, but that doesn't mean it's not yours. Is it hijacked forever? No. They know that. 11002 designates the Postmaster General to operate as a national register for all persons. So now the postmaster, the post office, right, the federal post office is now doing what? And when you see federal, man, these things are as federal as Federal Express, right? Federal Express is a private corporation. This federal stuff, they're also private banks and corporations. They don't, all right, you get it. 0003 provides for the government to take over airports. You can't go. Aircraft. 004 provides for the housing and finance authority to relocate communities. Okay. Which communities? Who you think they're coming for first? Black man? Black bow? You want to have seminars right now when they're planning to relocate you? Or do you relocate yourself? Do you make your own exodus and say, hey, well, if you want us to relocate from our location that we've relocated to, well, you got to talk to the Creator about that. Designate areas to be abandoned and establish new locations for populations, camps, right? 11005 provides for the government to take over railroads, inland waterways, the waters, the railroads. Now, all of these were combined under Nixon into one huge executive order, which allows all of this to take place if the president declares a national emergency and can be implemented by the head of FEMA. Who's FEMA? It's another private group. Federal means private, not by the president. So this can be implemented by the head of FEMA, not by the president. Word on the street. The president has already given him the power under these executive orders. So he already said, hey, head of FEMA, right? He's proxy, right? He's a proxy to run a corporation, and he gave another private corporation, he gave them the keys, which is ran by very, very private group of corporation. And whenever that very private group decides to give the head of FEMA, right, this power, whenever he gets this, it's on a crack. And so this has really the keys right here, yo. Under all these were combined under 11490, and that was signed by President Carter, July 20th, 1979, and is in fact law. So if H.R. 40979 is passed and the president does what it says and declares a national emergency because of the drug situation, right? Back then we were talking about the war on drugs. So we're talking 30 years ago, and that was the big thing then. And who was that against? Your community. Who was put in jail? You. Who was bringing the drugs in? We didn't have the boats to bring them in the hood. So who was bringing the drugs in? And who was getting caught up once it was distributed in our communities? We took the bait to get rich and get some quick whatever. You know what I'm saying? So many of us took that bait, and then they got caught up, and now they made these drug laws crazy, and this mandatory. You get caught up, man, with crack, which is what they putting in, and what's happening with that. And then you get caught up with coke. You check the mandatory sentences and how that rocks. So the people with money is rocking with coke, and those carry much less sentences, right? Lesser sentence all day for coke than crack. And that's how these laws were written once it was distributed, and said, oh, these people are using this, so let's make these laws much harsher. And these people are us, so let's make them less harsh. So let's keep going. Where are we at? FEMA then can implement all these executive orders, take over the local, state, and national government, suspend the Constitution, and do whatever they want to do. Now remember, what North said during the Iran-Contra hearings, he said that they were prepared to suspend the Constitution of the United States. Everyone's trying to get recognized in the Constitution, and it's about to be suspended. I want to be recognized as a tribe according to the Constitution. It's about to be suspended permanently. And he said if it hadn't been for their getting caught, that this would have happened. And so it would already have happened, he's saying. So it was pushed back. The Most High pushed it back. There are times, however it goes. And all that did was delay it. This is what is still going to happen. Now, they've nominated, and I think he's been appointed, whoever that is, you see the name, who's the head of FEMA, and was nominated because of discussions proposing the removal of the implementation of the National Guard in Washington, D.C. All right. And this general right here is or was the commanding general of the District of Columbia National Guard. Now, you've got to know that the National Guard would be of no help at all in combating drug trafficking in Washington, D.C. or anywhere else. This primary effectiveness of National Guard is in controlling mass civil disorders. Why is there a National Guard? To help you? No, to control you if they need to. That's their strong arm. That's their personal, army. Now I want to skip down a little bit. And you got the link so you can read it. There's one more thing I want to get to before we go to something else right quick. So he's just telling you what to do. Call your congressman. Do this. He gives sources about the thing. He gives his sources. Now let's go right here. In the United States. Author's note. Let me get my water on before I get into it. You see it. Author's note. The following report by this doctor right here concerning FEMA and concentration camps in the United States is photographed and printed exactly as written in the United States. A national emergency, total takeover. This is this doctor right here. My address. You see his address, his code, He puts it all out there, man. That's what he's doing. On April 20th, 1976, after a rapid and thorough investigation, I filed suit on behalf of the people of the United States against various personages that had a key part in a conspiratorial program to do away with the United States as we know it. He's going to get into the exact, process of this. This is a progress report to you, the plaintiffs, you, the people of the United States, the civil action, according to this particular 76H667. It is entitled Complaint Against the Concentration Camp Program of the Department of Defense. It was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Texas, Houston Division. The judge responsible for this case was, there you go. You have no doubt heard the story. Once upon a time, under the Nazi regime in Germany, a man worked on the assembly line in the baby carriage factory. His wife was going to have a baby, but the Nazi government would not let anybody buy a baby carriage. The man decided he would secretly collect one from each department and assemble the carriage himself. When this was done, he and his wife gathered up the pieces and assembled it. When they were finished, they did not have a baby carriage. They had a machine gun. All right. And this is exactly the situation that I'm going to present to you at this time. The Center for the Study of Democratic Institutions. Now, the brother Lexus broke down democracy. He broke down how it goes into their God of War. You know what God of War they brought over with them? The hijack, this own William Cooper mentioned himself. Their hijack is their God of War, is their democratic institution. Recently completed a proposed constitution for the new states of America. The center is Rockefeller funded. To give you an indication of the type of constitution proposed, the term national emergency is mentioned 134 times. So they need a national emergency to institute this type of constitution. The document did not have a Bill of Rights, and so there's no rights, and the right to own arms was taken away. At the same time, House Concurrent Resolution number 28 awaited for calling a constitutional convention on or before July 4th, 1976. The presiding officer of such an event would have been, you see the name, Vice President and President pro turn of the state. The particular resolution awaited in committee. Obviously, money would not be spent on these massive programs unless there would be the chance for actual implementation of such a scheme. And skipping right here, you see the executive order under this dictatorship, which will include its predecessors when it is called hereon. The executive order authorizes the secretaries of the various agencies to prepare for any national emergency type situation, including but not limited to those specified in the executive order itself. If you read the order, there is nothing at all left to the imagination. For any conceivable pretense, a national emergency may be declared based upon this frightening decree dated October 1969. The order itself was prefaced in March of 69 by another executive order which established the federal regions and their capitals. All the departments of the government were involved, including the LEAA, Law Enforcement Assistance Administration, so all law enforcement, the HEW, Health, Education, and Welfare. All this is together, health, education, and welfare. Congressman, you see the name, has revealed to Congress that various guerrilla and terrorist groups were being financed by the federal government. If they, the terrorist groups, actually begin insurgent activities, Executive Order 11490 would be activated. Look at all these orders ready. Any of these executive orders means all your rights are gone. They're putting you in camps. They're coming after your leadership. Everything. And now you see this stuff cracking down. You see this domestic situations going on, and you know they're false flags, but they're cranking it up, right? Now we got our sister Corin Gaines, man. Peace to my sister, peace to our family. I don't know the situation. They're saying the cops allege this and the cops allege that over traffic tickets. Then they say, oh, we heard voices in the house, so they got the keys to get in the house like they had a warrant over traffic, not drugs. Nothing violent, no domestic situation, nothing violence going on where this lady, our sister, and her family is in some dire, drastic need. They're not saying the woman's about to kill her kids. They're not saying anything violence going on, but they get the keys. Wait, what happened to just busting down the door? You might as well just kick the door in. But no, we're going to get the keys. So because they're saying they got the keys, we're supposed to feel like they weren't trespassing. And once they broke into this sister's house without a warrant over traffic tickets, they had a firearm issue because she was getting broken in. Her rights were getting, you know what I'm saying, impeded on, infringed on. She had no rights. If someone could come in your house with the keys over a traffic ticket, man, what does it take to realize you are not safe here? I'm afraid of going somewhere else. Well, I would be afraid of people coming through my door with the keys over a traffic situation. And whatever happens next is alleged because dead men don't talk. Dead women don't talk. Those kids ain't talking. No one's going to know. It's going to get swept under and they're going to do it to somebody else so we forget about them, just like we're forgetting about Freddie Gray, Eric Garner, Mike Brown. We forgot about all these situations already. Sterling, we forgot. Oh yeah, that's a long time ago. That's horrible. That's all it takes is this 119490. As you previously mentioned, you will see that the national emergency may be declared for any conceivable pretense whatsoever. You feel safe? If the order itself were activated, here is what would happen. The next day, you and your family will be standing in front of your local post office with your neighbors, the front door bursting with block-long lines of people waiting to be registered. After waiting in line with your family for hours, you finally get channeled through the doors. Once inside, you overhear the postal clerk with his sidearm on telling a frightened restraint, "Look, there's nothing I can do. The truck behind the building will take you to a work camp where you have been assigned. Your wife has been assigned to a factory and there's nothing I can do." They're separating families right there at the post office, the federal post office, right? It's a federal post office, right? That means it's privately owned by the same private people. They're playing chess, not checkers, man. They put Walmarts and Targets all through your neighborhoods, but they own those, so they turn those into camps. And they put you in those first because they're right in your neighborhood already. And then they take you from those to what? The prisons. And they separate your families, they separate your children. You got parents having to fill out applications now at certain schools, I'm hearing, you know what I'm saying, that you have to check off the vocational work that you want your child to grow up and do in case you're not there to raise your child. Oh, I want Timmy to be a gardener. You know what I'm saying? I want little Catrice to be a pick cotton. I don't know. I mean, they're gonna make you do all kind of crazy shit. It don't matter. You're gonna check it off, and then you're checking it off for them to say, okay, well, Mama said for Timmy to be a gardener, so we're gonna put him in this type of work camp. You don't get to be a family no more. You don't get rights no more. There's nothing I can do. After we drop this drop, don't ask, where's the YouTube link? We dropped it, man, for whoever's supposed to get it. It ain't for everybody. This is not Christianity. We ain't trying to save everybody. For once, we're looking out for ourselves. And those that understand order will get in line with that. It's not for everybody. What ancient understanding do you have that has to do with everybody? Or is this tribal warfare? And in order to regain our consciousness, we must be tribal again. Which means what? Restoring our communities that have been decimated. Restoring our women that have been decimated. Our kings that have been decimated. Our children that have been eaten. You don't just get to roll up and move on with your new order. After that type of catastrophe to Haia's children on Haia's earth in Haia's frequency, move on and forget about it? Who would teach you such madness? If someone took out your whole family, the next day they say move on and forget. Or do you know the only thing righteous is an eye for an eye? But how? Why? Because the Most High has equitable, fair laws. He says, don't cover your neighbor's wife. The wages of this is death. That's how a community is governed. But they want to govern you, so therefore they take morals away. And they say your morals are done away with. And my own family is looking me in the eye saying, Jesus is Lord. Jesus is God. And all of that God you're talking about in the Old Testament, their laws are gone. Now all power under heaven and earth has been given to Jesus, the God of war, that they took over here, brought over here, and chopped you to pieces and ate you. There's nothing I can do. Then your son or daughter looks up at you with a quivering voice and asks, Dad, why are we here? Why are we here is going to be a big question. And you're going to say, I know King dropped it, Lex Will dropped it. Why are we here? Because we did not listen. They said to build our own cities, to go back to where we've migrated before, and listen to the voice within our Creator, and once again be unified. If we're going to do this, let's do it together, unified, learning and growing, and relying on the Creator. If you don't rock with that, you will be hijacked, like it or not, and you will be standing in line, and they would say, your own people, why are we here? Because we don't listen. We can't listen. We're so fucking stubborn. We're so ignorant. We've been so deeply hijacked that I trusted these people. I trusted the government that invaded me more than my own people waking up. More than the frequency of the people that's waking up, I said, I'll choose a fear vibration. And now, yous can't leave, Dad. Why are we here? Alright. I'll go crazy. Yeah. I mean, this got so much drop in it. I want to get to something else now, I think. I mean, there's one more thing I wanted that had broke down how they're coming after the leaders first. Let's see. Here we go. Perfect. On February 16, 1975, in the San Gabriel Valley Tribune, it was reported that the LEAA, funded by the Department of Justice, and the Police Foundation, funded by the Ford Foundation, are prime movers toward implementing a national police force. You could research today the global, the Strong Armies Network. Just type that in, Strong Armies Network, and you will see what we're talking about. Where we at? The Police Foundation, all right. So each, however, contends they support local police agencies. The total program and invoices military units that have the function. All right, so now you see the militarized police force. This is 30 years ago, people. What is this guy, a prophet, or does he just know the drop? Now you see militarized police units, right? Military units that have the function of taking over the administration of local and state governments. That program is Operation Cable Splicer by Army Civil Affair Groups, a subplan of Operation Garden Plot, the martial law program. If y'all don't start getting on it and looking this stuff up, man. I mean, how far ahead are they? You just trying to figure out if you are indigenous? By the time you figure out you're indigenous, they got Operation Garden Plot, man. They got you gardening somewhere separate from your family. The method by which national police concept is being presented to the public has changed. It was first disguised under the cover of protection against civil disturbances. This program was as follows. A, Here's the method. Let's go. Keep the people from gathering in the streets. Right? So Black Lives Matter, everybody trying to just put you in the streets. Oh, another sister got shot. Who's organizing the protest first? Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Who's funding them? The same people that got the drop. That had the drop the whole time. Right? So they're putting you in the streets, and then they're going to go against you being in the streets, which then does what? So they're putting you right where these people want you to be, in the streets. Where do they not want you to be? In the wilderness. How did the Maya fight the Spaniard? They went into the jungle. And that's with guerrilla warfare, guerrilla warfare. In your jungles that you know, is it more or less difficult for any oppressor to oppress you? In their city, smart cities that they know, going off of their currency of paper and plastic, and depending on them for your power, your electricity, all that, your food, is it less or more convenient for your enemy to oppress you? All right. So, 1, keep the person from gathering in the streets. 2, isolate and neutralize the revolutions leadership. So anybody they think might be leaders, they want to isolate and neutralize. That includes anybody that, you know what I'm saying, it even thinks about, you know what I'm saying, gathering anything against any part of their robotic plan. You don't even have to be dropping a drop like this. You could just be like kind of dropping some drop. And they're like, yeah, he's a leader. Let's put him on the leader list. I don't care if you don't have to call somebody a leader for them to put you on the leader list. If they think that you could have any leadership qualities that you have not even brought into fruition. If they even see that you come from a leadership seed. Remember, they know who everyone is. They know who I am. They know who everybody is. This is energy, people. They're not waiting for me to drop. They focus on energy. However, they don't have order over the energy of Adam. They don't have order over the energy of Adam's, lands in certain places. In the lands of men. Women. That's why they preserve them. Not because they want to. That's not their MO. Because they have to. Because at the top of their order, they can only get to the firmament. And their master at the very top of their order knows at the end of the day, he's only the goon of his father's house. He's only designed to cause chaos when those people choose disorder. And when you are out of order, he has all power over you under heaven and in earth, right? And when you're in order, well, has the Creator given their master, this energy that he created, power over his children now? Do they have power over you now? Or is this implemented for those following this Black Lives Matter protest in the street? Black power. They're not calling on the Creator, so are they in order? They want themselves. They want justice themselves. Or they want Jesus to do it. Or Muhammad to do it. No one's calling on no one's calling on existence. No one's going home to vibrate with existence. Do they have order over that energy? Is it written that they will have order over you now? So why are we in a fear vibration? I had to check myself. I said, why, do I hesitate? You know what I'm saying? When I'm reading this, I'm like, man, whew, it's a lot of drop, man. But then I say, the worst thing you could be is in between. The worst thing you could be is lukewarm, right? I hate taking warm showers. I want hot shower. You know what I'm saying? I hate when my water doesn't get warm enough. If I move somewhere and the water's just not hot, like, golly, I hate in between. I hate when people are in between. It sickens me because either you are or you're not. Man, the streets know. Street fam know what's real and what ain't, man. You can't BS real, you know what I'm saying, the real vibration. You can't manipulate it. You can't intellectualize or you know what I'm saying, metaphysics your way out of being real, man. That vibration is so true. So they want to keep the people from gathering in the streets, isolate and neutralize the revolution's leadership, which is anybody that they might have any possibility to be a leader. Dispersal of crowds and demonstrators. All right. So it goes back to the crowds, right? So all we see is these crowds, protests, demonstrations. Who is that catering to? This is followed by successive prosecution in order to validate, one, the action of police. Validate the action of police. All day we're trying to validate the actions of police, denying the arrestees propaganda materials and denying them the opportunity to recover money damages against the police for arresting them. You think you have rights? Tell me this is not what's happening today. Tell me this is not what happened in Dallas. Tell me this is not what's happening with these false flags. What are they leading you into, people? Let me quote for you the scenario, which was developed for Cable Splicer 1. They developed this, 2 and 3. This is what they developed 30 years ago to justify the needs for dealing with civil disturbances, protests, Black Lives Matter. They need to play all sides of this stuff. They always are ahead. They were ahead when we first started waking up. They had platforms already set up for us to fall into, to think we're getting information, to think we're gaining something. But they're going to lead us into destruction, into the streets, into these scenarios that were set up by virtue of chess masters. Because they were given the drop over the lost. But do they have the drop over the found? Phase 1, an arrest and shooting. Provoke crowd unrest. Shooting, provoke crowd unrest. Shooting, provoke crowd unrest. Phase 1, 30 years ago, developed for Cable Splicer 1 by these people. I'll show you what I'm talking about. These people. Phase 1, an arrest and shooting, provoke crowd unrest and threats against public officials, and a riot begins to form. What do they want? They need your energy, people. They need your fear. They need your aggression. They don't need you to leave in peace. That goes against every part of their plan. So you come to the job or what Lex Will's been dropping. Remember, Lex Will has been fighting all hijacks by himself for years, man. So you go, and what has he been telling you? Go home. Listen to scripture. Go. Turn your face to Zion, inwardly and outwardly. Inwardly and outwardly. Flee the cities. They brought you here. Go home. Build again. Do what you did for thousands of years. But now you mention migration and we say, huh? Migrate? What? Man, we are the worst of ourselves. We are the worst of ourselves. My brother's walking around, sister saying, I'm conscious. You are the worst that it's ever been. Because you don't even understand you're hijacking your people. You don't understand where you're leading them. The options that you're giving them is what? Fighting in the streets, or some religious prayer that's going to, save you. Or going back to Africa when you ain't from Africa. These are your options. Go back to Africa. You're not from there. Your inheritance is here. You're from here. This is your homeland. This land is older than that land, man. Your pyramids are older here if you want to claim them. You want to claim the slave vibration? Well, it's older here. It started here. All that circle and cross started here. Thoth, all that here. Fight in the streets, okay. Well, phase 1, an arrest and shooting provoke crowd unrest. All right. And threats against public officials, and a riot begins to form. Phase 2, police vehicles are ambushed. This is their developed plan. They're not just saying this might happen, so we need to be prepared. They're saying this is going to happen. We're going to make sure this happens. Phase 2, police vehicles are ambushed. Various attempted assassinations of public officials. Who's that? Cops. Public official means police. Destruction and raiding of armories occur, and thousands of people begin to gather in. Local police lose control. Their plan is for the police to lose control. Without them losing control, they don't have chaos, and they like to begin with chaos. So once there's chaos, then what? Then they can say, oh, look, your states have fallen. You need guidance because you're not able to. Nobody wants to live in chaos, right? So here's our order to help you through the chaos that we have formed with inception in your psyche. With this vibration that we put in your psyche, we knew this would come to fruition based on our sorcery and our magic. And now, guess what? We have police losing control. Phase 3, increased movement of rioters, and the crowds must be dispersed before they become sympathetic with the rioters. The National Guard and local police lose control. It's all about losing control. And this scenario provides for an orderly transition from state to federal or private control. The Deputy Attorney General of California commented at a Cable Splicer 3 conference. They had conferences just about the Cable Splicer 3. All right, just about the increased movement of rioters, and crowds must be dispersed before they become sympathetic with rioters. This is a robotic plan put in a robotic fashion, encoded in your psyche. The National Guard and local police lose control. This scenario provides, Cable Splicer 3 conference, that anyone who attacks the state, even verbally, becomes a revolutionary and an enemy by definition. I'll read it again. This scenario provides for an orderly transition from state to federal private control. The Deputy Attorney General of California commented at a Cable Splicer 3 conference that anyone who attacks the state by speaking up verbally. So they just want you to shut the fuck up and die. Shut the fuck up and die. So that you could be standing in line at your federal post office and your child is like, why are we here? And there's people saying, I can't do nothing, that your wife is being taken somewhere else, and you're being taken somewhere else, and your kids are being taken somewhere else, and you'll never see them again. That's not my problem. This is the new order. You are here voluntarily because you could have got the fuck out. So even by saying anything, that's why I said you have to make a decision and say, look, I'm going to live in freedom or die trying. Or I'm going to shut the hell up and I'm going to go to these camps because that's all that's going to be left for you. They're pushing people to be revolutionary because being revolutionary means that you're choosing an order outside of their plan, their discussion. So if you're choosing an order outside of their meetings, right? They're having a meeting about Cable Splicer 3. They're having conferences. So if you choose an order outside of their plan in their conference, even verbally, you become a revolutionary and an enemy by definition. They are the enemy and must be destroyed. The same way they destroyed your chiefs when they got here, they destroyed you when you got. It's the same plan, people. History repeats itself. This is writing 30 years ago letting you know that these people did the same thing back then and they're going to do the same thing now. And if you don't believe they'll do it now, then just research what they did then. That's why I just kicked, went back to my brother, getting to the root of it all. Who know? Who's kicking to you? They ate you. They ate you and your children as delicacies. That's what they did. So what would they do this time? In those camps and in the streets? You're in a loop. We just went over the energy so you understand. When I say loop, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, go back to the 4 last drops. You're in a loop. And by wanting to get out of this thought spell barrier, right? This slave vibration, by wanting to break free of the loop, they call you a revolutionary and an enemy by definition. And you are the enemy and you must be destroyed. This program was taught in almost every state west of the Mississippi River and included as participants local active military, reserve military, and civilian police. The course name was Civil Emergency Management Course. The official explanation that was to be given if any question were asked about the program was, this activity is a continuous joint law enforcement military liaison effort. Look how the sorcery works. We just broke down exactly what it is, but the way I'm reading it seems perfectly harmless. You see how like something in you just relaxed as soon as I read this? It's like, oh, okay, it's just a civilian, a continuous joint law enforcement military liaison effort and a continuation of coordination established last year. No problem. No sweat. Go ahead and make it happen. Go ahead and meet about your cable splicer 3. Where you're clearly saying that anyone who attacks the state, even verbally, attacks meaning speaks against this order. Attacks means saying, I want my land back. You know, you killed all my parents, you killed all my relatives, you put me in these cities, you set this whole thing against me. I'm not even recognized in your constitution. You call me black. You say I come from Africa when you know that you found copper color races here according to the 1828 Webster Dictionary. You invaded me according to the 1452 Dumb Diversas Papal Bull and put me into perpetual servitude, searching me out, invading me, fighting me perpetually because I am invaded here. And because I am invaded here and I say, I kind of don't like being invaded, you call me a revolutionary and an enemy by definition. And because I'm an enemy, I must be destroyed. You must be destroyed. Drop Nation must be destroyed. Anybody that wants to speak verbally must be destroyed. Stay tuned.